Tradition number 14. Through successive chain of transmitters, reaching Ja'far ibn Qawlawayh al-Qummi, who relates from Harun ibn Musa Talukhbari, from Umar ibn Abdul Aziz Kashi, from Umar ibn Sabbah, from Ibn Isa, from Yahya ibn Imran, from Muhammad ibn Sinan, from Ibn Shaham, who says that I was sitting in the presence of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam with a group of people from Kufa. When Ja'far ibn Affan entered, Imam welcomed him, signaled him to sit closer to him, and then said, "O Ja'far," he said, "here I am at your service. May I be your ransom?" Imam said, "I have heard that you recite elegies from Imam Hussein alayhi salam and that you recite it very well." He replied, "Yes, may I be your ransom?" He recited, and the Imam started weeping, and all those who were present there too started weeping, until Imam's beard was soaked in tears. Then he said, "O Ja'far, by Allah, the angels close to Allah have descended here and heard your couplets for Imam Hussein, and wept like us and even more. Allah the Almighty has reserved paradise for you at this very moment and has forgiven your sins. O Ja'far, do you want to hear something more?" Ja'far replied in the affirmative, and the Imam continued, "There is none who recites elegies in the praise of Imam Hussein and himself weeps besides making others weep, except that Allah will make paradise obligatory for him and forgive him." Tradition number 15. Through successive chain of transmitters, Shaykh al-Saduq relates from Ibn Masroor, from Ibn Amir, from his uncle, from Ibrahim ibn Abi Mahmood, who says that Imam Ali al-Rida alayhi salam said, "Muharram is a month in which bloodshed was considered unlawful by the pre-Islamic pagan Arabs, but our blood was shed in this month. Our sanctity was violated, and our children and womenfolk were made captives. Our tents were set ablaze, and whatever was found therein was looted. And they did not even honor the relation which we share with the Prophet of Allah. The day on which Imam Hussein was martyred has injured our eyes, and our tears are constantly flowing since then. Our dear ones were dishonored on the plains of grief and trials, karbu bala, making way for sorrows and sufferings until Qiyamah. Thus, sorrowful people should mourn over it, the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, for weeping upon it nullifies the major sins." Then he said, "When the month of Muharram would approach, no one would see my father, Imam Musa al-Kadhim, ever laughing until the 10th, and grief would prevail upon him. And the 10th would be the day of sorrow, grief, and lamenting, and he would say, 'This is the day when Hussein was massacred.'" Tradition number 16. Through my connecting chain of transmitters, reaching Shaykh al-Saduq, who relates from Talaqani, from Ahmad Hamadani, from Ali ibn Hassan ibn Fadl, who relates from his father, that Imam Ali al-Rida alayhi salam said, "Whoever avoids attending to his worldly affairs on the 10th of Muharram, Allah will fulfill all the wishes and desires of this world as well as the hereafter. Whoever considers this day to be a day of mourning, sorrow and weeping for himself, Allah the Glorified will make the day of Qiyamah to be a day of rejoicing for him, and his eyes will be cooled in paradise on account of us. And whoever considers the 10th of Muharram to be a day of prosperity and buys something for his house, considering it a good omen, then Allah will not give him affluence in that thing. And on the day of Qiyamah, he will be made to rise along with Yazid, Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, and Umar ibn Sa'd. May Allah's curse be upon all of them, and will be thrown into the lowest abyss of hell. Tradition number 17. Through successive chain of transmitters, Shaykh al-Saduq relates from the Holy Prophet Muhammad salawatullah alayhi wa alihi that he said that Prophet Musa ibn Imran supplicated to Allah and said, "O my Lord, my brother has died, thus forgive him." It was revealed to him, "O Musa, if you desire, I shall forgive all the people from the beginning until the end, except the murderers of Hussein, for I shall surely take revenge from them." Tradition number 18. Through my connecting chain of transmitters, reaching the Honorable Sheikh Abul Qasim Ja'far ibn Qawlawayh al-Qummi, who relates with his chain of authorities that Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said, "The murderers of both Prophet Yahya alayhi salam as well as Imam Hussein alayhi salam were illegitimate. The heavens have not wept except on account of the martyrdom of both of them." Tradition number 19. Through successive chain of transmitters, the noble Sheikh Ja'far ibn Qawlawayh relates with his chain of authorities from Dawood al-Raqi, who says that once I was in the presence of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam when he asked for water to drink. When he drank it, grief overtook him, and his eyes became full of tears. Then he said, "O Dawood, may Allah's curse be upon the murderers of Imam Hussein. There is no servant who drinks water and remembers Hussein and curses his enemies except that Allah writes 1,00,000, equivalent to 100,000 virtues in his record, and forgives 1,00,000 sins of his, and elevates his position 1,00,000 times. It is as if he has freed 1,00,000 slaves, and on the day of Qiyamah he shall arise satiated." Tradition number 20. Through successive chain of transmitters, the Honorable Sheikh Abul Qasim Ja'far ibn Qawlawayh relates from the noble Sheikh, the trustworthy authority of Islam, Muhammad ibn Yaqub al-Kulayni, who relates with the chain of authorities from Dawood ibn Farqad, who says that I was seated in the house of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam when we saw a pigeon called Zaghabi humming. Imam turned towards me and asked, "O Dawood, do you know what this bird is saying?" I replied in the negative. Imam alayhi salam said, "It curses the murderers of Imam Hussein. Thus preserve such pigeons in your houses."